So here I am again, Andy XL, back with another NFXL podcast looking at the 2026 NFL draft. In the last one, I rounded off the offensive side of things by looking at the offensive linemen. So let's get into the trenches on the other side, the defensive side and the heart of the trench, the defensive tackle. In this decade, 21 defensive tackles have been selected in the first four rounds of the NFL draft. That's an average of 11 and a half per draft, but a high of 17 went in the 2025 draft, five of them in the opening round, which was also a high for this decade. So, with a talented and deep class having gone from the pool of college talent, what does the 2026 draft hold in terms of top end and quality and depth? As we head into the 2025 season, the answer appears to be that there are a couple of first round um, level defensive tackle candidates, some more in round two, and I can see the average of 11 to 12 going in the first four rounds. So it's given that so much talent went out last year, it's certainly not a bad class. And let's start with round one. And the top guy in this class ahead of the 2025 college season is Peter Woods, a junior at Clemson. 6'3", weighs in at 315 pounds and runs a 475.40, which is a pretty impressive time for a guy of that size. Woods has the versatility to play anywhere across the D line, but may end up being seen as the best interior D lineman in this class. He's simply top notch against the run and pretty effective against the pass too. His best attributes are definitely his speed and agility that allow him to beat opponents to the first point of contact. There is still room for improvement technically, but you'd expect that from a guy just coming out of college. But if he shows the expected level of development this coming season, he could not only be the best D lineman in this draft, but could well earn himself a top 5 pick in round one. So that's the top guy. Let's move on to the other round one level candidate as I see it at this time. And that's Caleb Banks. He's a senior out of Florida. 6'6", weighs in at 325 pounds with a 5'2", 40. After two quiet years at Louisville, Banks transferred to Florida and has come into his own since making that move. He is a huge human being whose power and technique allow excuse me. I'll start that again. He's a huge human being whose power and technique allow him to dominate opponents. His great lateral movement as he improves his technique year on year. Again, if that improvement continues in the coming season, he may well earn himself a round one selection in the 2026 draft. So they're the two round one guys. Let's move on to round two. And the first one I've got in that area is Kristen Miller, a junior out of Georgia, 6'4", 305 pounds, a 4'9", 40. These stats taken from Draft Buzz, by the way. After redshirting as a freshman, Miller has 41 tackles and 2.5 sacks in 25 games across the last two seasons. Those moderate sack numbers back up Draft Buzz ratings, which give him as an excellent run defender, but not so strong as a pass defender. They also express concerns about his abilities to play at high levels late in games as he gets tired, and about his durability following shoulder surgery this offseason. So they're question marks that teams will want to see him address if he's going to be an every down guy at the next level. His abilities as a run stuffer alone could get him into round three of the 2025 draft. I've got him in round two currently, as I suspect he will show greater durability all around and improve his pass rush abilities. And like I say, I expect that to get him into round two. If he has an excellent season, could even push for round one. So let's look at the fourth guy up. That's Darrell Jackson, senior, Florida State, 6'5", 330 pound, 5'05", 40, according to Draft Buzz. He spent his freshman year at Maryland before transferring first to Miami and then to the Seminoles, but he missed all but one game of the 2023 season hurt, resulting in him in redshirting and using his junior year of eligibility in 2024. In that year, he had 32 tackles and 3.5 sacks. His technique and production is far from consistent, but he's a mammoth defensive tackle who first entered the 2025 draft and then withdrew. With his fellow D lineman Joshua Farmer now in the NFL, Jackson will need to shine in 2025 to be a mid-round two selection. Finally, the last of the round two guys I've got at the moment, obviously called the Godfather, Dante Corleone, a senior out of Cincinnati, 6'1", 320 pounds with a 5'1", 40. He's a 2-year starter for the Bearcats, where he's had 110 tackles and 9.5 sacks in 34 games across his 3 seasons in Cincinnati. He's an explosive type with elite athleticism, and as such will likely light up the combine in 2026. But he's another whose performance levels can dip during games, indicating a lack of stamina and durability. So again, he's another one that has to show he can stand up in that area. He is also an out-and-out ball rusher who needs to develop a wider range technically to thrive at the next level. So we've got 5 guys across the first 2 rounds. So let's move on to round 3, where I've got a further 4, and that's starting with Zane Durant. He's a senior at Penn State, 6'1", 290 pounds, 466.40, so maybe a smaller, faster guy. He's had 42 tackles and 3 sacks for the Nittany Lions, whilst on the small side, as I say, for an NFL defensive tackle, he's powerful and really quick for the position. He uses that power to stand up as a run defender, but his physical tools would probably give him a higher upside as a pass defender, but he needs to develop his technique and skills to maximise those innate abilities. As such, he goes into the 2025 season with the look of a developmental type with high upside, so I've got him in round 3. Next up, Dominique Orange, a senior at Iowa State, 6'4", 325 pounds with a 5'3", 40. Good old-fashioned nose tackle type. He is excellent against the run. Orange is likely to show up in tackling stats rather than quarterback hits. He has some physical limitations that could hurt him come the combine, but is a real force to be reckoned with for opposing interior offensive linemen. As such, round 3 could well be within his reach draft-wise, maybe even round 2. Right. Number 8 on my list of 9 I've got here is Tim Keenan, a senior at Alabama, 6'2", 335 pounds with a 5'2", 40. He had a strong 2024 season with 40 tackles and 2.5 sacks. Those stats match up against anybody in this class, and if he can deliver at that level again in 2024, could make a push to get into round 2 of the 2026 draft. One big area of concern, literally for Keenan, is weight control. He is reported to have weighed in at 380 pounds prior to his freshman year and to have slimmed all the way down to 315 pounds at one point. Maintaining consistent weight and conditioning will be a question in these sorts of positively during the 2025 season and pre-draft process. And finally, for the defensive tackles, 9th on my list of another round 3 guys I see it, DeMonte Capehart, a senior at Clemson, 6'5", 315 pound, 475.40. Nice combination of size and speed there. He has therefore he has the physical traits to succeed. 2025 will be his 6th season at Clemson, and his production has been extremely patchy during that time, but there have been exceptional moments. A criticism across a range of scouting reports that I've read regarding Capehart is that his pad levels are too high, allowing his opposing number to get leverage on him too easy. And it will need to iron that out because NFL opponents will just maximise that weakness. If he could iron out those issues and consistently deliver on the promise he has shown, he could still lock in a day 2 selection. So that was 9 minutes to go through 9 guys. I will just take a little bit of time at the end of this to once again sell myself a little bit and tell you that over the last 3 years, I have been the most accurate predictor of where people will go in the draft. I'm not saying which team will pick them and exactly what pick, but in what area they're at, what round they go in. So if we said I pick a top 50, more of my top 50 will go on days 1 and 2 than anybody else out there. And that includes anybody you want to talk about, anybody you want to pick off NFL.com, any of the other networks are more accurate than they are. So, that's me. That's the defensive tackle class. Now, I'll come back next time with the exterior defensive linemen. I call them edge guys, so it's like defensive ends and outside linebackers grouped into one. So that'll be my next piece looking at the draft. But stay tuned for weekly stuff on the NFL as it happens too. but I see the NFL draft as a real strength of mine. So make sure you tune into my podcast regarding that. See you soon.